What's up, guys?
Welcome back. We are Nick the Red and Tyler P. Mother, I never remember to mute my phone.
You'll figure it out one day.
One of these days.
It'll be like episode 500, but you'll figure it out.
I mean, you're very ambitious.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'll stream to no one. It's fine. Like, I'm cool with it. But so, yeah. What are we talking about today, Nick?
Well, we just got back from Beatla, I think is what they were calling. Beatl is what they were calling. It's Biatl. It's both in invitation, international, something like that. Atlanta. It was the big Star Wars tournament up in Atlanta. And then you wanted to say a few things about.
Give me 1 second. The store phone is ringing.
Just internet. So, hey, yeah. Okay.
You keep talking. I can still hear you.
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah. So he wants to talk about the Warhammer tournament we had this weekend, and then I figured I'd touch on how we did and how we felt about the Star Wars tournament up in Atlanta, and then we'll probably just chit chat about some things that have been going on around the store and that kind of thing. To be fair, we are doing this in an active game store right now, and we've only got one guy on the clock, so please bear with us. I mean, I can do a little jig if you guys want. Yeah.
Oh my god, did you say there's a bear with us?
I mean, I think that would be more entertaining than what I'm doing right now.
Just having to solo the chat.
That hair down just so I can make sure that I'm actually properly in frame.
Sure, bud.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Anyway, we just had a Warhammer tournament here yesterday. How was the turnout for that?
The turnout of the round was actually really good. We had it set to 14 players, and up until like the very last minute, we were full.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, had 2 last-minute drops. The weather was really inclement that day. And,
yeah, it was raining pretty bad.
Yeah,
even up Atlanta.
It was coming down. The rain was bad, and there was someone who signed up and never submitted a list, so we ended up dropping them. So I call that a last-minute drop.
Mm. Yeah.
You know, probably someone signed up and just forgot about it. It happens all the time. But so we ended up with 12 players all around, which is still a great turnout. I mean, getting 12 people to show up to a local Warhammer event.
Yeah.
You know, Warhammer players are hard to gather, it seems. But we managed to do it once a month.
I mean, to be fair, like, our Warhammer scene has definitely gotten better, honestly. Like, when I remember when we were doing the Crusade, we had a handful of people at first, and then we got a whole bunch of people come in.
The Crusade is... I still have nightmares about that Crusade. Like, running that Crusade was...
Not something you plan on doing ever again, huh?
You know, you say that. I've been thinking about running one again recently.
It's kind of like drinking a Slurpee really, really fast.
Yep.
Like, it tastes really good at the beginning, and then all of a sudden, you know, the headache hits you.
And then, like, your stomach hurts a little bit from all the sugar.
Yeah. And then about an hour later, you forget about it, and apparently you want to go back for another sip.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Definitely going to run it differently.
Yeah.
But... I guess I don't think I'm busy enough, so that may be a thing.
Not with, you know, managing the store and running the tournaments and getting everything prepped and contacting people and doing orders and taking in shipments. And...
Yeah, you know. Crusade is a narrative form of play for Warhammer 40k, so it's almost like you're making a D&D campaign out of playing Warhammer, but instead of handling just a single character, you have a whole army. Normally what I encourage players to do with Crusade is I want them to write short stories based off of the battles that they do, come up with names for like their characters, stuff like that, and just incorporate and build. And as the game master, I always try to make a bigger overarching story for them to exist within. But that's the general idea. The last one just ballooned into this huge thing. Like, I think it maxed for that. We had like 20...
We had about, 6 to 7 players per faction or team, basically. And, I mean, even the non-active players, I think we hit about 20 to 21.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot to run.
It was a bit. Honestly, the hardest part about it was just organizing, getting people together to actually play their matches,
Yeah.
and in a reasonable amount of time.
What I'm thinking for this one, if I do another one, if, or if I gotta remember the camera's right there. I'm too busy looking at myself. It's weird. If I run one, I would probably limit it to like 12. I think 12 is a reasonable number.
Fair,
So
because
it's
then you have like
people.
four per faction.
Yeah, and I'm only considering it because the new Nachman Gauntlet stuff just came out.
Yeah, a couple of people already ordered the book for that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's Night Lords versus Sororitas. And then they're already talking about another book coming out, Armageddon, which is just a retread of like really old Warhammer lore, but
Right.
we won't get it. But get into that later. Get into that a bit later, maybe. But so Warhammer went well.
Yeah.
We wrapped it up. I opened the store at 10. It was absolutely torrentially downpouring. It was amazing. And then round 1 kicked off. I think we kicked off at like 10:40 just because I was waiting to see if that last person would show.
Would show up,
I
yeah.
gave him a couple of minutes, didn't show. Whatever. Got the ball rolling. So yeah, kicked off 10:40. And all the rounds ended pretty much on time. I'm
Right.
trying to enforce that a lot more.
Yeah, we were talking about it just before we actually started streaming. That you were considering getting chess clocks and timing people.
I think they're a worthwhile investment.
I don't think it's a
really
bad
and truly
idea.
do.
I don't think it's a bad idea because you're talking about having 3-hour rounds, splitting that between 2 players, giving them ample time to take care of their turns.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. Like, slow play is always an issue with a game like Warhammer, right?
Slow play is an issue with any competitive game, really.
That's true, but it's especially with Warhammer because Warhammer, you have so much that's going on.
Right.
You know, between handling shooting, depending on your army, melee, charges, command phases. God forbid you're playing Thousand Sons and you're managing all of your Cabal points and all the Psyker stuff that you have to do, which,
Right.
even though it's been lumped into the shooting phase, it's still a lot to
It's
manage.
still a lot to keep track of.
But what I want to... Because instead of having to get called over as a judge and having to play bad guy and be like, hey, man, you're playing a little too slow. You gotta pick it up. If there is just a dedicated timer right there, turns go back and forth, you're clicking the button. Just click the button. And if you run out of time, you can't do anything.
Too bad.
So that way it doesn't turn into, oh, the 3 hours was really 2 hours of one person playing and an hour of another of you actually getting to
Right.
play because your opponent's playing some army that, you know, just eats up a lot of time. Like they're playing orcs, they're playing Astra Militarum, they're playing something like that.
Right, and honestly, like at some point, you should be able to play your army without having to constantly reference your material.
Exactly. I mean, it's
I'm not.
hard.
I'm not saying that
Yeah.
it's easy. I'm not saying it's something that should be required, but as somebody who is active in the community, who's active in the gameplay, who's been playing the same army for a while, if you have your codex and you have your index cards and all that kind of stuff, being familiar with your army ahead of time
It goes a long way.
it goes a long way to kind of cut down on that excess time that's just being wasted by you constantly going, all right, so these guys are going to shoot this gun, and oh, but wait, it has this ability, and this
Yeah.
army has this ability, this unit has this ability, so I'm going to use that ability. It's like,
you know, like having to like slow roll it. And that's
Right.
also why, like, in the early part of a game, normally both players will start talking through what units do, so there's no like
Right.
surprise gotcha moment.
Well, and I guess the biggest thing is from what you were mentioning earlier was the repetitive of having to constantly look up what your unit's toughness is or what their strength is and that kind of thing.
I think you should know that. That's a
Right.
bare
That's
minimum.
the bare minimum. You really
You
should,
should know
that.
toughness. You should know attacks. You should know
Right.
strength. You should know just general stuff. You should know how much damage an attack does,
Right.
so that we're not sitting there going, you know, it should just be pretty off the cuff
Sure.
if you're going into a competitive environment.
Sure. Especially in a competitive environment. Like, we are not trying to say that people have to do that to be able to play
No,
here.
If you're playing casually,
Right. Take all the time
whatever.
you need as long as, you're out by 10.
yeah, or midnight depending on the night.
Yeah, depending on the night.
But most Warhammer players don't like being out after the sun goes down.
I mean, that's when I thrive. But that's just because I'm a ginger.
Sure. I just have a terrible sleep schedule. I don't have a genetic excuse.
Oh, well. So anyway.
But so, yeah, a really interesting thing We had, I think, 4 Tyranids players.
Yeah.
Like, that is a lot of Tyranids. More than I've ever seen at an event before. We had Tyranids. We had Grey Knights. We had 2 guard players.
Hmm.
A couple of Chaos Space Marines. Several Demons players. We even had an Emperor's Children player, which was exciting to see because they just came out.
Right. Their stuff just came out. You can go ahead and take it.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I was trying to make eye contact. Okay, but anyways, I'll let you talk about Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'll be listening.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I'm still right here just for you guys.
He says as he's halfway off the screen already.
Yeah. I'm fading out.
So yeah, so our Atlanta trip, we had our 8 team members all go up, and that was 7 of us locally were able to go, and then we had 1 player from Athens, sorry, from Athens actually come down and join us. So shout out to you, James, I think is what his name was. If I'm getting that wrong, I apologize. We love you down here. Please come back and see us. But yeah, so it was a 7-round event. It was a 3-day event. They had pool 1 on Friday. All of our team was in pool 2 for Saturday, and it started at let's see, the shop's doors opened at like 7, but the actual event started at 12. It's basically an hour each round, and it was going until 7 o'clock basically. And then everybody who made top 16, I believe, or no, top 8 in the round 2, pool 2, would go on to Sunday, where they'd compete the top 8 people from pool 1 and top 8 people from round 2, and you'd basically have your top 16 people competing for the ultimate end of the game prize. Our team did better than we did at the PQs. A lot of us got better records. There was 128 people. Our top player ended, I believe, in the 30s. I'm probably wrong on that one. So we're getting better at it. It's definitely a different environment. I mean, Atlanta, the area we were in Atlanta was actually really nice. I did the driving for most of us to get up there, and I got to tell you, it was a nightmare. I am not good at driving in inner city highways, and the traffic was atrocious. I am not an aggressive driver at all, so I had a time getting us to the venue. Made a couple of wrong turns, much to the chagrin of the people riding with me. But no, we made it fine. We made it up Friday night. We got a hotel room, stayed, practiced well into the wee hours of the morning, and then we showed up for the venue the next day. Yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. I gotta say, Cards HQ, really great store. Loved it. It's really nice looking. They do their professional. They have like their own like studios and whatnot in the store for doing streaming, for doing pack openings, that kind of thing. They mostly deal in sports cards, but they are starting to get more of an online presence with their streaming and things like that for like card games and whatnot. Apparently, both the network people were putting on the tournament. It was the Bothan International Atlanta. They mostly do like 1Ks per month up there. So we might be coming back up there. Not quite sure yet how it's going to work out for us, but you know. Let's see. I was bringing the Piet Blue, using the Colossus as my base. Our team captain, whether he wants to be or not, Braden, was running his double blue Iden. He was also running Colossus as his base, and it was like a super control deck. We had Mike, who was playing Sabine Blue. I believe he was just using a 30 hit point base. We had Chris, who was up there playing Django Tarkentown, which is a really very popular deck in the meta right now. Like, we got the reports about the big Milan tournament this year, and yeah, I believe it was the top 50 people, the top 52 people in that tournament, and it was like a 200-person tournament or something like that. I think it said it was like an 80% showing of Django Tarkentown. I'm not sure who actually won that one. I'll look at it later, but suffice to say, Django is more dominant in the meta right now than the original Boba Fett leader ever was, and he got suspended. So a lot of people are thinking that he's probably going to end up being suspended. Let's see. Brett was running his Quinlan Tarkentown build that he had put together. Um, Jones was running his Gar Saxon yellow deck. He was using a 30 hit point base. Apparently, it performed pretty well for him. Joey was running Boss Boss Green. I think he was using a 30 hit point base. And like I said, all in all, our games went pretty well. I believe James or Jim. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but I do apologize. I don't remember your name. I met you the one time, but we love you down here. Please come back and see us. He was running double red Sabine, basically Sabine aggression. But yeah, pairings. I was kind of surprised. We had about 25 people running the Django Tarkentown list up at the tournament. We saw a plethora of Sabine ECLs. That still is one of the more popular decks. We saw a couple of Quinlan Tarkentowns being run. Saw a couple of outliers, to be honest. I believe I saw one Obi-Wan green. I saw a Luke, the set 1 Luke. I think he was also green. But yeah, we prepped, and then the day of, just sometimes you get a bad matchup, and I think I went 1-3 before I decided to go ahead and just back out. I had a pretty bad experience one of my matches. Not going to go into too many details, but suffice to say, I did not enjoy the matchup. The guy I was playing against was being kind of snobbish with his deck, and his attitude was just kind of throwing the whole vibes off. But I understand it's a competitive format. People are going to be more intense, basically. But I mean, other than that, like, it went fine. I guess I'm still running solo on this one. Let's see. Tell you what, we're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break. I'm going to use the restroom, make a phone call, and then we will be right back. I will say this. I definitely did enjoy going up there. Met some really great people. Shout out to Cards HQ. And you guys up there were great. Very welcoming. Really cool to kind of work with you guys, allow us to get out there and like get our name out there as the Deep Dive team and the Deep Dive store down in St. Mary's. I know we passed out a bunch of stickers and we passed out a bunch of promo packs and whatnot, so people were really excited about seeing us and sitting across from us playing. So we really appreciate the letting us do that inside your guys' store. We look forward to kind of coming back up and seeing you guys. Any of you guys up there in Atlanta, come down and see us sometime. We'd really appreciate it. We were talking about putting together the Set 5 planetary qualifier. So I'm betting we're going to have a lot of people coming in from out of town for that one. So that'll be really interesting, real cool. But unfortunately, we couldn't do the Set 4 one. We just didn't get in on time. But we are going to be able to do the Set 5 one. So
I swear, hopefully that's the last interruption. Probably isn't.
probably not.
And the store's picking
Hey, you
up.
should apologize to them. Them people at home had to sit here and
so
listen to
sorry.
me for the last like 5 minutes.
I know, that's actually like a fate worse than death.
It's torture.
Yeah. But I don't even remember what we were talking about anymore.
I was telling everybody about Atlanta and you weren't paying attention.
No, you said something about how there was a guy you played against who was really rude and mean and stupid and...
No, I didn't say stupid on the stream.
Sorry, conjecture. Just played in
Hearsay.
a very
Objection.
unsportsmanlike manner.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad experience. Honestly, it kind of just threw my whole vibe off for the rest of the day.
I get it. It's happened to me before.
Yeah.
It sucks. Especially when it's the type of unsportsmanlike where it's like, you haven't broken the rules.
No.
You're just kind of
Well, we were
not being
talking.
cool.
We were definitely talking earlier. You were talking about slow playing, and I feel like that's kind of an issue. I'm not saying that's what that person did. Let's get that out here. But in the competitive environment, I know there was some issues with several people at the tournament, kind of talking about how like people playing control decks were just playing slow. Like, it's a viable tactic. Like,
Yeah.
we've talked about this before. It is a viable strategy. I'm gonna win game 1, and then I'm just gonna slow game 2 down to a crawl to the point of wasting as much time as possible, so that hey, we don't finish a game 2. I won one game. I win the round.
Yeah.
Now you don't get. I guess you don't get as good of a standing, but I don't know. I don't know if Melee.gg actually does care about the number of games won in a match.
It does take it into account. It's like the 4th thing
Right.
that gets taken into account, but it's still taken into account.
Right.
At the end of the day, they're just looking for who won the round.
Right. That's ultimately how it breaks down. And like, I guess if you end up with somebody with the same record, win-loss record,
Yeah.
but you did not finish all your games, yours probably is weighted a little bit lower than what the other person is if they were able to finish their games.
Yeah.
But
It's just.
It's crappy. It feels crappy to sit there and when you're playing a control deck and the person across from you is playing a control deck, and it's every 5 minutes asking the same questions over and over again, asking playing cards that let you look at your opponent's hand, and then every time you play it, even though the hand hasn't changed, they're going to sit there and they're going to look through your hand 3 or 4 times. Like, it sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks
does
because
suck.
again, they're not breaking the rules. I'm not saying they're a cheater, but like, it just means that, hey, now we don't get to go to game 2 or game 3. It's not going to finish. If your opponent somehow got ahead, and then now,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to finish the round.
That's even a discussion that we've had in the past, though, about how they need to change the rules to discourage. Because I think games like Lorcana also have that issue.
Yeah.
Where people will rush through a game 1, and then they will slow play their game 2 and potentially game 3, depending on the tournament.
Right.
Because they know that they're at this advantage.
Right.
Because
that
they've
they
already
can
gotten
win the first game because you're not expecting it.
Yeah.
And then when you expect it, now you know what to look out for. Well, now they're just going to play the stall game.
Yes, and they're just going to stall you out. They're going to kind of... I don't know any other way to describe it other than play lame. And I say this as a control player. Like, I play control in One Piece. You know, whether it's Green Bonnie or Red Shanks. Like, I'm playing a control deck.
Right.
I know that there is... You play lame sometimes. You are playing strictly removal. You're not playing for the clear victory. You're just playing to deny your opponent their victory.
Right.
And it
Well, it's
doesn't
like, yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of there's an old Star Trek Next Generation episode where some, like, super tactician showed up on, I think they were playing, like, war games or something, and there was a special game called, I think it was called, like, Outmaneuver or something like that, and he wanted to play against Data, the android who, can make millions upon millions of computations all at once. So he wanted to play against him, and in the first time they played, he beat him. And, the second time they played near the end of the episode, Data wasn't playing to win, he was playing to stall. And basically he just wanted to make it so that the game would continue on until his opponent gave up. And that's what ended up happening. And that's kind of like what I mean by, like, it's a viable tactic. It is a strategic move to win that first round and then stall out your opponent. But you have to be careful with it because there is a very thin line between, being thorough and slow playing. If you're not making a decision, not making a move. I mean, I know I've heard, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a really bad problem with it where people will sit there and act like they're calculating things out, or they're checking their hand, they're flipping their hand a couple of times, they're checking their hand again, it hasn't changed, but they're looking at it again. They're counting up monsters on the board. They're asking their opponent how many cards they have in hand, asking their opponent how much life do they have left, that kind of thing. Like, you're doing legitimate game actions, I guess, legitimate game questions, but then when you're you're using that to delay the game to the point where it goes to time and then there's no clear winner, that's where it does tend to suck. It sucks to be on the other side of that. I can't really think of a viable way for Fantasy Flight or really any of these card game designers to, come up with a solution to that problem other than, what happens. What would be so bad about like at the end of time, whoever has the highest life total wins. If they have the most percentage health left on their base, they win. They win that round. But I think that might lead to encouraging players to do nothing but stall, which would be just terrible. It's a terrible format. So yeah, I guess we're just kind of in that situation where there's no real viable answer to it. You just gotta be careful about it. Be more open and willing to call a judge. That's the only piece of advice I can give, because I'm very non-confrontational. I don't like causing problems, making waves, and I think that's a lot of the attitude that a lot of people that do stuff like that really bank on. The fact that somebody is unwilling to embarrass themselves by calling a judge.
Yeah. See, I have been listening because I can jump right into this conversation. A lot of the time, people don't like to call judges because it's the same. It makes you feel like.
Scoot over just a hair. You're still way off.
I'm fine with being half a face. I'm used to it. But part of the reason why people are so adverse to calling judges is because you start to feel like back in school, you're the kid that calls the teacher.
You're tattling.
You're tattling. That's what
Right.
it feels like. As long as it's not like blatant cheating, what are you gonna say?
Right.
Or the other, because this is something I see a lot at tournaments, and it is one of my pet peeves: the person that calls the judge over every little thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's just the constant like cutting into your game,
Yep.
trying to throw you off because it's like, I didn't like how you shuffle your deck. I'm calling a judge. Judge.
Yep.
Like the constant. I remember I played a game. This was Magic forever ago, and I think this is like a game day. Before.
They stopped doing those.
Yeah, before they stopped doing those. So
Yeah.
not even that like a competitive event for sure.
Sure.
But it was a local.
Well, yeah,
At the
it was a
end of
local, like a local level competitive event is not supposed to be that serious.
I played against someone that called judge 17 times over the course of 2 games.
Jesus. Over
17
what?
every little interaction. This was Battle for Zendikar. Judge, I don't like how Nick is doing the podcast.
Fair. I don't like how I'm doing the podcast either.
Um,
I'll concede that point. How many points do I get taken off?
-2.
2?
It's always -2.
It's always -2. Well, it is a minor infraction.
But I mean, I was playing.
5? That's
Ooh,
a little
that's
aggressive.
Brutal. That's brutal. You're knocked out of running.
I only
at that
get
point.
10. No, you get 10 in Fantasy Flight games.
You get 10 in FFG.
Yeah, if you hit 10, you get banned or you get disqualified.
That's crazy. That feels like a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah,
I guess it's 5 minors, probably 3 majors would get you there, or 2 majors would.
Well,
get you
minors
there.
are 1 point. I think it's minor, then it's escalated. Escalated is 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then severe is 5.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
So yeah, so like taking your opponent's cards and throwing around.
It would be a severe.
That would be severe.
Crazy. I can pull that off twice.
Yeah,
I get away with it twice.
you basically get slapped on the wrist the first time. You do, hey, calm down, don't do it again. Here's -5. Here's 5 points.
Yeah.
Penalty points, and then if you get caught doing something like that again, any kind of
Then you're done.
unsportsmanlike behavior, you're done.
Okay, but okay, so that was that was Battle for Zendikar's game day.
Yeah.
No, it was Shadows over Innistrad, actually, I think it was SOI, because
Okay.
I was playing a Thing in the Ice Izzet deck.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I remembered it.
Yeah. And this guy was just every little thing you did.
Every little the deck was super simple. It was drop Thing in the Ice, cantrip,
Right.
flip Thing in the Ice,
Right.
bounce their whole board. I have a 7/7.
Yep.
Simple as that. It's a very straightforward play.
Duty calls again.
I know I'll get through a sentence eventually.
Eventually.
I'm really enjoying the solo Nick show. I think it's a lot of fun.
I
I
don't
think it's
think
a
they
ton of
are.
fun. Maybe not. I don't know. We at least have one.
We
have
do.
one.
We do have one person watching us.
All right. I'll be back.
Don't lie to them.
I'm lying.
Oh yeah. I mean, that is definitely something that's kind of a little grody to me is calling the judge over every little thing, every little interaction. I will say there was one judge call that was made that I feel was kind of a bad judge call. If somebody had taken the time to actually read the rules and actually read what the cards do, they would have understood it better. We had one player that on our team, his leader had an ability, and that ability applied to all friendly units. Your leader, as a unit, counts as a friendly unit. Um, the ability was supposed to trigger. His opponent disagreed with him. They called the judge over. The first judge said, no, 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 that it doesn't work the way it's written, which was completely wrong. And I only am saying that as a judge myself. Not letting me go 6-0 this weekend was a bad judge call. Oh, no, 100%. Should totally a bad judge call. Yeah, totally should have gone straight up 6-0, no defeats, swept the board completely. Was Tyler your judge? You want me to beat him up for you? Uh, but yeah, so ultimately, the head judge, I believe, was called over, and the head judge. Mom, get the oh, gotcha. I know who yous is. Yeah, totally. It was a completely bad call. They should have totally let our one of our deep dive guys go straight up to the top. Grab that $6,000 prize pool. Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about then. You know the person in question. Judge call was made. Bad judge call. Called the head judge for an appeal. The head judge made the same bad call. Um, and it ended up being like it ultimately did not matter um, by the end of the game. It's just, come on, guys. Like, if you're running a tournament that's this size and you have a certain level of judge qualifications, because right now we have level 0 and level 1. Level 0 is like your local level kind of thing. To get to level 1, you have to be sponsored by a store that has been recognized as capable of running like planetary qualifiers and big tournaments and things like that. And then they sponsor their level 0 judge to go take the level 1 test, which means if you pass both the level 0 test and the level 1 judge test, you should be familiar enough with the rules that reading the card explains the card. And in this case, it was very blatantly written on the card. So I disagree with what the judge call made. But again, when you're at a tournament, proper etiquette, you don't argue with the head judge. Once the head judge has made a ruling, you kind of just got to stick with it. I'm honestly not sure if you even have a process for appealing beyond a head judge. So it's a kick in the teeth. It's unfortunate, but hey, there you go. And honestly, with that many people at the tournament, there's bound to be one or two bad calls. It's gonna happen, so you just kind of have to get over it. Um, it just sucks. It sucks to be on the receiving end, 100%. But yeah, I will say ultimately it was fun. It was fun, and it's definitely something that our team is definitely going to be looking forward to going and doing again. We are planning on going to a couple of the local, the closer by PQs in the next coming months. Hopefully, we'll be able to like really hammer out, really catch a groove for our decks and our play styles. So we're looking forward to that. But beyond that, I really don't have much else I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I really don't have much else. Uh, it's been pretty hectic. I will say, uh, our owner, Braden Spencer, just had the first couple of episodes of Echoes in the Deep recorded today. So I'm definitely looking forward to them coming out. Hopefully, I'm gonna subscribe to the Patreon literally just to get access to the videos early. So be looking forward to that. That's gonna be coming out pretty soon. He's got to go through the editing process and all that, getting the episodes done up and getting them ready to release on schedule. So it's from what I know of what's going on, it's going to be a very cool show, very interesting. A lot of great players. Shout out to all you guys. If any of you are watching right now, I think you guys are doing great. Uh, from what I know of the campaign, Braden's doing a great job coming up with a story. Running the campaign itself. So yeah, I'm super looking forward to it coming out soon. Um, Unfortunately, looks like we're getting a little busy today. Usually Mondays is not that bad, honestly. I'm kind of surprised we're having a pretty high influx of people. Let's see. So, Mom Get the Camera says, with Django being 11 out of the top 12 in Milan, do you think the banhammer is imminent now? So, I think we're going to have to wait to see how I believe it's Denver pans out. It's very, very dominant in the meta right now. It's a very popular strategy. There's enough units that ping and do this, and especially with like the indirect damage thing happening now, um, we're seeing a very, very popular meta. I mean, it counters a lot of aggro players. It counters a lot of the big stompy players. Control kind of has a pseudo hard time dealing with it. It is a fairly mid-range deck. Access to things like Triple Dark Raid, allowing you to look at the top 7 cards of your deck and flip a vehicle for 5 less, is a very big component as to why it's so strong right now, because Yellow Villain seems to be vying for the top spot of its villain decks. I will say, do I think the banhammer is imminent? I think he is very likely to be suspended if we see a very, very populated tournament in Denver. I don't know if Django himself is the issue or if it's TDR that is the issue. There might be some other factors that go into it, but I mean, he's very, very well statted. He's a 3/7 that flips on 5, so he's 1 less power than the original Boba. But we're seeing almost double the presence in the meta right now than Boba ever was. So, inevitably, I think they're definitely going to look hard at it. If we see such a dominance in the meta, it's either going to be Django or, in my personal opinion, it might be Tarkentown, the base that Django's using, because there's a lot of decks in the meta right now that are using Tarkentown, like a lot of decks. So even more so, Tarkentown is a bigger presence than Django himself, honestly. I saw several Django lists at the tournament in Atlanta that weren't running the Tarkentown. It's such a viable removal piece right now, and ECL has been kind of dropping off a little bit. Not by much. Not by much. Don't get me wrong. It's still there. It's still very, very, very present. But I think if one of the 2 cards that are probably being watched the closest are going to either be Django or it's going to be Tarkentown. And my leaning is they're probably going to consider banning or suspending. That's what they're calling it, suspending. They may suspend Tarkentown before they suspend Django. Because, I mean, honestly, we only have 1 card that is suspended, and it's Boba, and he's only suspended in Premier play. So, give it 2 more years. 2 more years that we or not even 2 more years. No, I'm sorry. I'm completely spacing. We've got 2 more sets. 2 more sets come out that we really will just have to deal with Boba, or not Boba, but we'll have to deal with Django. We'll have to deal with Tarkin Town. We'll have to deal with ECL. We'll have to deal with Sabine. All of the big meta heavy hitters. Because March of 2026, Set 7 is going to release, and as soon as Set 7 releases, Sets 1, 2, and 3 are rotating out of Premiere. So they're not going to... So basically, if it hasn't been reprinted in the last 3 sets, basically, 4, 5, and 6, we're not going to have access to it anymore. So a lot of people are kind of like not sure where the meta is going to be, not sure where the decks are going to be come the next set. So a lot of people are looking to start building leaders out of the newest set. I really am enjoying Piet. I like it. I'm going to try a different deck for a little bit just to see if I have some better success with it. Like I said, I feel like the deck works. It just didn't work when I needed it to. So I'm probably going to make some tweaks to it. I'm going to try take a break from it, maybe build a different deck, and then go from there. Oh, you're back.
Hey guys, if anyone wasn't aware, we do have Pokemon available right now, just in case anyone wanted to keep me completely removed from the stream. I think it'd be very cool. I think it'd be really cool just to make Nick squirm just a little bit more.
Squirm?
Yeah, you're squirming.
I'm not squirming.
Sweating. I see you sweating from here.
That's just because I'm fat.
I mean, I'm fat. I'm not sweating yet. I was sweating earlier.
You're glistening.
Thank you.
That's not a good
thing. It's like
thing.
telling a pregnant woman she's glowing.
I mean, all we need now is just a dozen Dunkin' Donuts sitting there, and you're just gonna be completely.
Don't you normally bring in a half dozen?
I normally do. But only when I have to be here early.
Which I feel like you're here before me most days.
It's just because I've got other things to do. Hey, don't be telling them the secrets now.
We literally talk inside baseball at least once an episode.
Sure, but I might get in trouble in other places.
That's fair.
So shut up. Yeah, so Burke has been on here asking some questions. I appreciate you. Let me look at the camera and actually say that. I appreciate you.
No, he doesn't. Don't let him lie to you.
I'm not lying. I'm just not being completely truthful.
Just not being completely truthful?
It's called omission.
God, it's so hard for me to keep my train of thought going.
We were just talking about like some very smarmy gaming tactics for
my favorite
tournaments, but
it's just one of those things, man.
It's just one of those things. I feel like there should be harsher penalties, but at the same time, how are you going to enforce it?
Yeah, because who's doing it earnestly,
right?
And who just has accidentally developed bad habits? Because like, if it were up to me, I would have a penalty for everyone that sits there and fidgets with their cards 24/7, because that drives me nuts because it makes it hard for me to focus on the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize that a lot of people don't do it out of a sense of malice.
No.
They're just fidgety. I bounce my leg all the time. That's how I deal with my fidgeting.
Right.
But
I have a ring that has a little spinny thing.
Yeah,
you'll see me in stream just spinning it.
So I get it, but oh my god, dude, I'm sitting there trying to play, especially in One Piece. That's what I've been playing the most recently.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there trying to think something out, and my opponent just.
Yeah, flick. And
I'm like, dude, the cards aren't changing. Stop shuffling them. And I know there's a logic behind it, because it's the idea that your opponent will never be able to figure out
what cards
you have in hand and where they might be,
right.
Especially if they've been revealed.
Yeah.
But every 5 seconds is a bit much.
It is.
It's just one of those things. Like, I recognize it is generally not out of malice. Like, most things are probably not out of malice.
Oh, no, 100%. Like, I mean, granted, it's a certain kind of person that plays these kind of card games as intensely as a lot of these people do. It's a habit. Like, they don't half the time, these people probably don't even realize they're doing it.
Exactly. And I mean, it takes a very specific type of person to play card games, and then to play card games competitively.
Yeah, what is that old saying? It's don't attribute to malice what can be explained by ignorance, I think.
Never assign malice where stupidity will suffice.
Sure, we'll go with that one.
I like that. That sounds like a saying.
Burke, 2025.
2025. Give it to him. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I could sit here and complain about it all day, but you just gotta let it go.
Yeah.
You're gonna run into bad people. I'll never forget one of my buddies.
Wait, it's not Burke.
It's not Burke.
No. Pretty sure it's our Athens guy.
Or Athens guy.
Hey, throw up in the chat who you is, because I completely, I know somebody at the tournament told me that's what their handle is. Mom get the camera is their handle.
Well,
and
I can read, thankfully.
I mean, I'm sitting farther away from the computer than you, so bite me.
Okay.
It is. See, I was right this whole
It
time.
is Burke.
See, I love you. I promise.
You know, I was about to start telling the story about how my buddy got a table flipped at him.
Oh no, I need to hear this now. You can't
This
can't
was-
just prep a story like that and then not share it.
So this was up in Snellville, Georgia. If you know where that is, shout out. Where I grew up. Oh, no, I'll deal with that in a second.
Okay.
We both see it.
Yeah.
It was a little shop called Augie's.
Uh-huh.
Augie's was like our LGS, because the one we used to go to that I can't remember the name of, and I feel really bad. That one closed down because the owner got sick, couldn't keep up with bills, whatever. It closed down,
Sure.
so we started going to Augie's. Augie's had a very interesting clientele.
Yeah.
We went there, and I don't even think this was like a game day or anything. It was just like an F&M.
Mm-hmm.
Standard F&M. My buddy was playing Mono Blue Mill. This was around Amonkhet time. because
Okay,
he was
now I
playing
know
Frames
why
and-
he got the table flipped at him.
Look, you can say whatever you want. I don't think it's reasonable. But so he's playing Mono Blue Mill into this one dude, and this dude's going all already. The second he's like Frank Sanity, Mill, and he just starts going, yup, gets milled out. All right, go game 2. Shuffle up. My buddy is being as nice as possible about this.
Sure.
Too. You know, he's chill. Like, we're all just here to play a game, right? Game 2. Frank Sanity. Yup. Next turn. Frank Sanity.
Gross.
3 Frank Sanities out.
Gross.
This dude literally fist hits the table as hard as it can. He takes his mat and, like, does this, and he's like, I can't stand this. A lot of other expletives.
Oh, I'm
and just
sure.
Stormed out.
Again,
Out.
understandable.
Again, like, slam table.
Yeah, no,
like,
that's crappy behavior at
Yeah.
that point. I mean, if you're just having
broke
that
the
bad of a
table.
time,
He broke the folding table.
Really?
His fist came down on it so hard, like it dented in. Like it was a broken table. Over mill.
that's just crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it happens. And again, I get it. Technically, lame play.
Lame play.
But,
But at the same time, he was still doing everything within the rules. So
yeah. But I mean, no, raging out like that is ridiculous.
no, it's uncalled for.
Um,
If you're not having fun at that point, concede, get up, walk away.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's it. Like, there's
It's
no
that simple.
call. There's literally no call to be that aggressive.
Yeah. No, never.
You're playing a card game, for God's
Yeah,
sake.
it's a card game that is technically geared towards, I won't say children with magic.
Like teenagers.
Teenager. It does say 13 plus on the packaging.
Right.
And that's because of the use of the word demon. It's because of the use of the word demon.
Sounds about right, I guess.
Because the word demon, I think, was used back in, like, alpha.
Well, there was a
beta.
lot of like demonic imagery.
Yeah,
there was a
because
lot
like
of
demonic tutor.
there was very like risque imagery in some of
Yeah.
the art.
And then it was, and then that went away for a long time. That's why we saw so many, like, horrors.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it wasn't until, like, 2004, 2005 that the word demon came back. Like, especially even as, like, a creature type.
No, I'm pretty sure it was back before that.
I feel like it's later than you would anticipate.
Yeah,
I
I
already feel
mean,
like in the 90s.
well, you got to remember too. Also, back in the day, they didn't have like creature types per se. They had
Yeah.
like summon this, summon
Yeah,
that,
it would be like summon X.
and it's
yeah.
usually like summon the name of the creature.
Yeah, especially with legendaries that did that.
Yeah, well, it was summon legend
Summon
because
legend.
legendary was not a super type
Yeah,
yet.
they were legends because they were introduced in the set. Legends. Crazy how that works.
Crazy how that works.
Um,
And Coat of Arms used to specifically say that it didn't count legends.
yeah, Specifically.
Especially.
Especially. Specifically.
Just to
But-
annoy Braden.
Just to annoy Brady every
Especially.
little pet peeve.
Oh, I pet his peeves all the time.
I'm aware that's why there's the sign up above
Yeah.
the till. To anyone who has never been in the store before, I can't remember what the exact sign says. I can go grab it here. in a
Stop
minute.
petting my peeves.
Yeah, stop petting my peeves. And I think that's a very
I make it a hobby.
apt description. In a hobby store, no less. It's your hobby in the hobby store.
It is my hobby in the hobby store.
That's crazy. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any like crazy store news or gaming news.
Well, I was telling them earlier about Braden just started recording for the D&D show.
Yeah, that was today.
That was today.
God, they went until like 2 p.m.
Yeah, they went
They
a
went
lot. They went
late.
over. They went over.
Because I was told it was supposed to be 6 to noon.
Yeah.
Noon rolls around and I'm like, I can't turn on the open sign.
But I mean, like, to be fair, plans are almost always forgotten as soon as you encounter the party.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like I don't think any D&D party has ever been upset that it ran late or
Oh, no,
ran
no.
long. You're only mad when it is cut off,
Yeah.
but I mean, an 8-hour D&D session for some people that's normal.
That's my bi-weekly D&D session usually goes for about
I would gas out.
he said he's waiting for somebody to come up to the register. So go ahead and take care
Okay,
of him.
well, why not? He was perusing.
Got to do his
He was
job.
perusing.
Yeah. We're in an active gaming store.
Okay, I thought.
Yeah, no, we're here. He's on the clock. We're just.
I didn't want to bother you.
Oh no, we appreciate it, but hey, we understand it's an active game store. We gotta be on our toes.
That's what's up, though. That's cool that you guys are doing a podcast.
I appreciate it. Check us out. It's Beneath the Surface on YouTube. We post up there. We're also on Twitch. It's the Deep Dive Games Twitch channel.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on right now.
Are you part owner?
No. I'm just another employee here. Our owner is Braden
Not
Spencer.
just another employee. Y'all are great.
I mean, I appreciate the compliment. Trust me, I need all the compliments I can get.
Hey, that's cool. How many people own that?
Right now, the owner is one guy, and then as far as the podcasts go, it's me and my partner over here, and then we also have another podcast show for everybody who's actually still paying attention. On Tuesdays at 7 o'clock, we do what's called swabbing decks, where our owner and his partner will sit down. We'll crack open one of our 4 most popular games in the store, and on a rotating schedule, and we'll play a couple of games, or they'll talk about deck building and stuff like that for that. So it's called Swabbing Decks. It happens on Tuesdays at 7 on our Twitch channel.
Okay. Oh, it's on Twitch. Okay.
Yeah, so we do Twitch, and then we'll take the recording and we'll actually post it up on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can find our YouTube page. I believe it's Deep Dive Games LLC.
What is it?
Deep Dive Games LLC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Swabbing decks, I won't
Go
forget
check it
that.
out. Yeah, it's probably best to like search it by its name. It's Swabbin without the G. It's apostrophe N or the N apostrophe.
Yeah, got you.
Decks. Yeah, and then ours is called Beneath the Surface. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm just hanging out.
That's cool. If you need help, just wave one of us down and we'll hop
Huge
up.
on strategy games. I'm a magician, so it's like literally magic tricks are all just.
I got you.
They're all really just, you know what I mean. And so I've been in strategy games ever since I could walk. I played
Yeah.
Risk when I was like 6.
Me and my uncles used to play that one.
Yeah.
Axis and Allies, too. That was a good game.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Hey, that's part of the
This is the
whole
nature of it.
the show, right?
This is
We
the
talk
nature
to
of it.
people, we talk about games, talk about gaming and all that, and we're in an active gaming store, so
Yeah, I
we
mean,
got to step away every now and then.
if that isn't a sign of how active the store is, I don't know what is. Like genuinely.
A crowd of people just rampaging the store for the Pokemon that you talked about.
I'm always I'm always waiting for, because obviously you see there's Star Wars sitting behind us. I'm always just waiting for the day that we're gonna be talking and there's just people just browsing, not paying us a lick of mind, just browsing.
I mean, I ain't gonna hate them about it.
No, of course not. I'm not gonna hate them about it, but I'm just waiting for it because people keep edging closer and closer when they're looking at Warhammer. So I'm just waiting for the day.
Hey, We should put up signs like Cars HQ did. They have signs literally all over their store that says, "You may be on YouTube by entering these premises. You agree to be filmed."
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
Especially if you're going to be filming out here in the main store, just so
Yeah.
you can keep an eye on
Yeah.
the register and all that.
I still think it would be a great idea if we did like a Big Brother-esque thing. We just put a camera up that's live streaming all the time in the store.
They
During
actually
active
do
hours.
something similar to that. Anytime they have a tournament, they usually have a live stream camera just that's like up,
Just up and just
and
showing everything.
like showing the store, showing
I
different
think that'd be so
angles
much
and
fun.
whatnot.
I did that one time for the Warhammer tournament. I just kind
Yeah.
of set it up and just let it go.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think there's something so interesting about watching people just in their day to day, like just seeing like the general camera, especially if it's just nothing going on.
like somebody's watching me.
No, because there used to be people who would set up cameras all the time.
Yeah,
And it would just be like street corner in like Moscow, and it would just show the day to day. I don't know. It's
look,
just
I'm
an
not gonna
interesting
kink
thing.
shame anybody, but you're borderline edging on creep.
How? I don't think there's anything creepy.
I like
about that.
watching people like
It's
on
not
street
watching.
corners.
It's just the thing that it can be 3 a.m. You click it on. It's what like it would be like.
Like
11
Shia
in the
LaBeouf staring at
afternoon.
a camera, going, "He will not divide us. He will not divide us. He will not divide us."
There's so much to that story. There's
know.
so much to that story.
I know quite a bit of it.
But no, I don't know. I think it's interesting. You're making it a weird thing. I'm just saying I think it's interesting.
I'm just
You can
teasing
just
you.
peek into somewhere in the world.
I'm just teasing you.
Of course you are.
I
You
always
gotta bully
do.
me. I only get to show up for
I
like
do.
2 seconds of this stream.
What can I say? You're easy to bully.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think my parents said that one time.
I mean, I'm not gonna open that bag of.
No, let's do
Hammers.
let's do some therapy really quick.
No, I'm good.
So
I don't need to talk about my fifis.
no Fifi's talk.
No fifis.
No Fifi's talk to the camera.
I'm a sad little boy, broken on the inside.
Oh yeah, we have a lock-in coming up.
We do.
We
That's
do have a
right.
lock-in
We should
coming
talk
up.
about. We should
We
talk
should
about
talk
like some
about that.
promotions and things that we're doing at the store.
No,
you know
man.
what? With us recording an episode in the store,
I want to talk about my tattoos.
I don't want to talk about your tattoos at all. You know, legally,
Legally,
I can't be convicted of the same crime twice,
that is double jeopardy.
and I am a CPR certified.
Oh, so you
Person.
kill me, resuscitate me,
Yeah,
and kill me
I'll
again.
strangle you, then resuscitate you, and strangle you again.
Yeah, so we do have a lock-in. There's something special about this lock-in. Do you want to talk about what makes it so special?
It's not my vice.
Not your vice. It's a lot of people.
Not my
a lot
scene.
Of people's vice, though.
So, this is going to be a liquor lock-in, is what we're calling it. Our friends over at WePub have offered to extend their liquor license to include outside of their store. It's a small fee, and basically they're
Yeah.
going to set up a mini bar over here.
Yep.
And for the duration of the lock-in, you are more than welcome to come and purchase alcohol while we're gaming.
Yeah, and so we're going to be open from. Well, starting obviously at noon, our normal open time.
Yep. Noon Friday till
Friday
6
till-
a.m. Saturday.
Yeah. 6 a.m. Saturday.
You're not
It's
going to
to
get
be-
any sleep that day.
No, why would I get sleep? When do I sleep?
I mean, it's plenty of time to sleep
Well,
when you're dead.
Fridays I'm normally here till 2 or 3 in the morning, anyways.
That's your own fault.
I know. It's because we all hang out. We
He
have a good time.
is a kind and loving,
I-
a committed employee who loves the community to the point where he will stay here way past closing just to facilitate people playing games.
And you know what? The reason why I'm so big on this is because I remember, well, we don't have a whole lot of.
Not to cut you off, but
Was
to
it- I got an
repeat,
ad when
the
it-
lock-in is going to be this Friday.
Yeah, this Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah.
So it's April 4th.
Got you, Burke. Don't worry.
And it'll start, like I said, we're going to start the lock-in probably around 7 Friday night, but our doors, obviously, our regular business hours are from 12 until 12 on Fridays.
Yep.
So
it'll
we're going to
just extend.
start the events and things like that we're going to be throwing the liquor lock-in
Yeah.
after 6.
I was
and
gonna
then
say
we're gonna
6
go.
is when the bar is gonna get set up.
Yeah, we're gonna set up the bar at 6. We'll probably start selling drinks and things like that, probably right around then.
Yeah,
So officially, the lock-in's gonna be 6 to 6.
but the first event doesn't kick off till about 7 p.m.
Probably about 7. Yeah.
because that's when the pre-release is gonna kick off. It's gonna be so busy.
Oh my god,
It's gonna
so
be
busy.
so busy.
You know what? You can handle all of the pre-release. I have no desire to participate in that at all.
It'll be like the last 2 lock-ins where I handled everything till
Hey,
like 3 in the morning.
I was here for the last one. I was
were.
helping.
Do you know what you were doing?
I don't remember.
You were playing a Star Wars pre-release
That's true. I was.
that ran from like 8 p.m. to almost 1.
Hey, that's not my fault.
You know what? You're so right, bestie. You're so right. But no, so the reason why I like to stay open late, because this is a conversation I had to have with my girlfriend before, because,
Yeah.
you know, she's worked retail, but she hasn't worked in a store like this. So it kind of threw her off at first when I would be like, yeah, we close at midnight on Friday, and I'm not getting home till 2, 3 in the morning, sometimes a little bit later than that.
To be fair, a couple of those times was probably us standing out in the parking lot talking.
Yeah, but a part of that is because I remember when I was like 15, 16, you know, and I was going to my LGS religiously every Friday.
I don't.
Every single Friday. And hanging out. And we would be hanging out till 1, 2 in the morning.
Sure.
Mind you, I'm enough of an old head with Magic. I remember doing draft as the predominant. Like, that was the F&M thing, was draft.
Yeah, we always just did standard.
Standard was like...
I'm sorry, Type 1.
Type 1. Good old Type 1.
Good old Type 1.
But we draft was always the consistent thing. At pretty much every LGS I went to up until around COVID time is when it stopped being draft, I feel like. That's when it started shifting to Commander. Everything was Commander.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Commander was still pretty popular. Like
Yes, it was still popular.
I hadn't really ever heard of Commander until I got here, and a couple of the guys that I happened to work with when I worked at Walmart played Magic, and they asked if I played Magic, and I was like, well, yeah, I still got some of my old decks. I had an old Elf Fireball deck.
Yeah.
That I brought in and showed them just exactly how stupid and broken it was.
Was it Channel?
No.
Okay.
It was Priest of Titania, Invigorate, and Instill Energy. So basically, tap her, get a lot of mana, use Instill Energy to untap her, tap her again for a lot of mana, just keep doing stuff like that, and then filter mana through the Sky Shroud Elves.
Yeah.
And turn it into red, and then just fireball my opponent for lethal.
Okay, so
it's very, very basic.
yeah, but I mean,
it do what it do.
a classic combo.
Oh yeah,
Classic combos.
you know. So busted that out, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you should come with us. We're gonna go play at Cool Stuff down in Jacksonville."
Jax.
So went down there.
Dude, that is a hike.
It was a bit of a move. I mean, I was living in Yulee at the time, so it was like a 30-minute drive.
Yeah, it cuts off a little bit.
But yeah, like dropping down to Cool Stuff to friggin' play Commander, this newish format that I heard of. Like, it started apparently in 10, and then in 13 when I got here, it was already been kind of going. Already had a big community for it. Ended up getting back into Magic because of it, and then yeah. So I mean, even 2013, it was still. Like, Commander was pretty popular.
I feel like 2013 is when it really, because that's around the time the Commander Arsenal came out.
Yes. Commander Arsenals really did vitalize it. A lot of the old Commander decks were still available.
Yep.
So a lot of people had them. I had an old Zedru deck.
I remember.
I love Zedru. It is the will of Zedru that you should have this copper tablet, for it is pretty and should look nice on your side of the field. I will sit over here drawing cards and gaining life. And then I finished him off by using, like, what is it? Words of the one that allows you to pay one and skip your draw, the next draw you do, and deal damage to your opponent.
Oh, I know the card you're talking about.
I can't think of it. It's the red one. It's one of the words. There's like words of binding, words of vitality, or something like that.
Someone, Burks, you're the only name I keep seeing, man. Help us out. Help a brother out. What's this card? What's the name of the card?
Anyway, the point was I would basically just gain a crap ton of life, and because I had so many card draws, I'd just be like, cool, I'm going to tap all of my mana and burn you to death.
Yeah, and then you just die.
Or they would just die from the really, really crappy things that I would give people, like a steel golem. My favorite was giving them a summoner's egg that had a leveler underneath it. That was fun.
That is really funny.
Especially when you use Despotic Scepter that can just tap to destroy a permanent you own.
And it just blows it up.
Yep, so I'm just like, it is the will of Zedru that you should have the summoner's egg. For there's a very powerful creature underneath it, and it will look fine on your side of the field.
And you just blow it up.
And it's dead. You have to start it every time with, it is the will of Zedru.
It is the will of Zedru. But, yeah, because I remember doing draft up until... I think the last set I remember drafting a lot of... Did Kaladesh come after...
Kaladesh was 16.
That was after... Yeah, so it was after Shadows over Innistrad.
Yes, because Aether Revolt was 17, so it was the last.
Yeah.
It was the last set to release in 2016.
Yep. So, because I remember that's the last set I really remember doing a lot of drafts for consistently.
Well, a lot of people wanted to draft that because we didn't have set boosters at that point or
Yeah,
collector
it was
boosters
just
at that
boosters.
point.
You just had
booster
booster
boxes, and one in like 24 boxes had a masterpiece in it. So
It
people
was
were
way lower than that.
Was it lower than that?
I remember. Again, I drafted this set from when it came out till when Amonkhet dropped. Or I think it was Ixalan that... Or no, it was Amonkhet. Amonkhet, then Ixalan. Until Amonkhet dropped. We saw in our shop...
I know Amonkhet was 17.
The Amonkhet story leads directly into Ixalan.
Does it?
Yes, because that's when Jace has amnesia.
Oh,
He has
yeah,
amnesia
okay.
from fighting
Yeah.
Bolus.
From fighting Bolus.
Yep. More magic lore.
Magic.
We should just do a magic lore episode.
I don't want to do a magic
Nope, we're doing a
lore
magic lore episode. It's decided. If we do that, then I'll tell a D&D story.
You are lying and your feet don't match.
Nope. My feet don't match?
Because you got a left one and a right one.
Oh, you're so right.
No, I'm both left and right.
Anyways. Yeah, we drafted that set so much. So we went through... Because we would normally have 12 to 15 people every single week for F&M. So
That's
that
impressive.
was 3 to 5 boxes being
We
gone.
consistently get over 20,
But that's also for Commander.
Right, that's for Commander.
You know.
We can't get a draft to fire off to save our lives.
I've tried. I will sell my firstborn to fire off a draft.
You're not having kids, so...
Don't tell them that.
Empty promise.
Don't tell them that. That's the point. It's fairy tale logic. You always have to scam them. It's always a scam. Never trust someone. It's a scam. On that one specifically.
God, that just reminds me of that stupid Chicken Run movie.
That's such a good movie.
It's like, I promised them every egg that I'm going to lay this month. Random fireball is random.
Fireball? That just threw me.
Anyways.
But yeah, we opened cases upon cases
Uh-huh.
of that set. I think in our entire time we had 3 inventions pulled. One of them was out of a pre-release, so that
Gross.
doesn't count.
Gross.
It was a Mox Opal.
Gross.
So, big money. I pulled one in a draft, and it was an engineered explosives.
Gross.
Which at the time was about $80.
Yeah, at the time.
I don't know what it's worth now. I don't
I
want to
don't
know.
know.
I genuinely don't want to know.
I don't, yeah.
I'll probably be upset by that number.
Probably.
Because I sold it to get another box of Kaladesh.
Fair. I mean, I remember cracking open boxes of Origins, sitting in cool stuff.
Yep.
And basically taking every mythic that we pulled out of the box and just selling it back to the store and immediately buying a new box.
That set specifically was Jace or bust.
Pretty much.
It was
And
Jace or bust.
We definitely hit Jace a couple of times.
Yeah, and Jace at that time I think was like 50, 60 bucks a pop.
Well, see, that was the thing too. I forget what set did have Snapcaster in it.
That was...
It wasn't OG.
Dark Ascension.
Dark Ascension?
I believe it was Dark Ascension. No, it was OG Innistrad.
No.
It was OG Innistrad.
Was it OG?
OG Innistrad.
What year was that? 12?
I believe so. I think it's 2012. Because it was the end of 2012.
They didn't reprint that though, did they?
What, Snappy?
Yeah.
They've reprinted Snappy.
No, I mean within the couple of years. Can't
Well, because
remember.
we went back to Innistrad in 2015.
Right, I know.
2014 and
Did they
2015.
reprint it in?
No.
Did they reprint it in
It
that?
didn't get a reprint
No, I
until
didn't
a
think so.
Masters set.
Okay. Yeah, so I remember buying a box of OG Innistrad. Yeah, because I got here in 13,
Yep.
and so OG Innistrad had just come out the previous year because we were in Dark Ascension when I got here. So I bought an OG Innistrad box and cracked a Snapcaster, and at the time it was going for like, I think it was going for like
Around 80.
50 or 60. No, it was like no, you're right. It was about 80.
Yeah.
It was about 80 because I was like, cool, I can trade this in. I'm not gonna ever use it. And then the week after I did that, it shot up to 120 because there was some guy that won a friggin' big Grand Prix or something using it. So every modern player wanted it in their decks.
God, you remember when Tarmogoyf became like the card?
Yes,
Like in
I
modern?
actually do because it was before I got here.
Like,
Because Tarmogoyf was Time Spiral.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
and they got a
remember.
reprint in the first Modern Masters.
Well, yeah, but
Back
I
in
remember the
2014.
Time Spiral days when that card was like $100 for a Tarmogoyf, and people wanted a playset of them,
And it went up. I remember Goyf's being about
and it
200.
shot. Yeah, it shot through the roof.
Remember, there was that whole controversy back in, well, I forget which Pro Tour it was and what year it was. They did the draft, and that one pro player got, like, crucified because he took a foil Goyf. He picked the foil Goyf over what would have been a more sound pick
Right.
for what he was drafting.
He was crucified by the community,
He
but he didn't
valued
do
that
anything
thing.
wrong.
No,
He didn't do anything wrong. So, like, I don't.
I'm not saying he was wrong to do it,
Let-
but that was
So for anybody who might disagree with us, or me specifically, and I don't care,
a great start.
I don't see value drafting as bad as people will say that it is. Because honestly, at that point, like, okay, they're gonna have a crappy deck then. And if they drop from the thing, cool, you're getting a free win, which means you have a chance of getting more packs. So at the end of the day, like, sure, if they value draft, they're gonna pull all the valuable cards out of the draft. Good for them. Most people, upon opening their pack, are going to pull the rare. Most people, when they draft, are
Pack
going
one,
to pull
pick
the rare.
one is, I think, 95% of the time the rare.
The rare, because it kind of helps you kind of set up what your deck is going to be. Very rare. I have only done maybe about 10, 15 drafts total, and out of all of them, I think I maybe got past a rare 3 times,
I've gotten past rares a decent number of times.
but not the first rare. in the
Okay, not first
pack.
rare.
That's
Unless
what
it's
I'm
like
talking about.
really bad.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, unless it's a super bad card, and in that instance, I've only had it happen 3 times.
I remember Aether Revolt, you saw it a lot because people
Yeah.
would take fatal pushes and stuff over
Sure,
rare. Because
sure,
it was such
because
a good
it's
removal.
such a good removal card.
And also because fatal pushes were worth like $8.
There were definitely rares that weren't worth that much.
No, there were a lot that weren't worth that much back
So-
in the heyday of Magic.
Well, but then you also got to think too is that was right when they started transitioning to the two set blocks.
Yep.
And so
That was a little into it because first 2-set block was Battle for Zendikar. Because it was BFZ into Oath of the Gatewatch, into Shadows over Innistrad.
Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure there was a
I'm
third
willing
set
to put
on that
money
one.
on that. I'm willing to put money. I'll put $5 on that right now.
You still owe me $5.
So it'll negate it
Okay.
because I'm that confident.
You're that
I'm
confident?
that confident.
It was Battle for Zendikar and Oath of the Gatewatch, and then
And then into Shadows over Innistrad, into Eldritch Moon. Then we went to Kaladesh,
okay. Yeah, no, I can see it.
Aether Revolt.
But
All
no,
the Dead
what
Hour
was the last
Devastation.
one before that?
What, before BFZ?
Yeah.
Before BFZ was, I believe it was Cons.
Was it Cons?
Or no, the Origins happened before that. But then the
Origins.
last
What?
three
No, the last
block
block.
was Cons. Cons of Tarkir.
Yeah, okay.
It was Cons of Tarkir.
Yeah, because Cons was 15. Or not Cons, but Dragons of Tarkir was 15.
Yep. Because I opened a ton of that set. That's why I remember it so well.
Yep.
Yeah, because that summer was Origins.
Yeah.
And then it
yeah,
was
because it was
BFZ.
the first time that we got a core set that had a bunch of new cards in it.
Yeah, like a bunch of new
Like
stuff.
new.
'Cause
Like it was a reprint set mostly, but they still had a lot of
15
new.
had new stuff. Because 14 we got the reprint of new slivers
Right.
that were not really
Right, because
slivers.
Origins, like I said, Origins was the first core set
that did new
that
stuff.
was not a core set.
Yeah, and hence why they call it Origins.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be the origin of the Lore 1.5, whatever.
Yeah.
Except they didn't do a Johnny, who was a part of the Lore 1.5.
Right. They
Garruk.
did Gideon instead.
Yeah, and I forget who they did for Green. It was not Garruk.
No, it was Nissa.
It was Nissa?
It was Nissa.
Okay, it was
It wasn't Garruk. It was Nissa.
Because Garruk was still just inexplicably
It's just
missing.
gone somewhere.
Well, no, because he showed up in M15 the year before.
Yeah.
He got his big, his hunter whatever, where he was like -7. Just
Well, yeah, that was when you got
nuke a
the
creature or
chain
planeswalker.
veil curse or
The
something.
curse, yeah. Because that happened in Dark Ascension when he got cursed.
Right.
Because it was the flip Garruk. And then Magic lore is fun.
More magic lore.
I don't even remember. Oh, we were talking about the lock-in. That's where we started this, was the lock-in.
Look,
and now we're
people
20
don't come
minutes
here
in.
for contiguous chats. They
You could
come
have
here.
just stopped that if people don't come here.
I mean, that's true. That's fair.
No one wants to listen to us talk. I'm half ahead because I keep leading away because I feel like I have to talk into the microphone.
Well, I mean, you're certainly bleeding over to this mic.
You're welcome. You're bleeding over into mine a little bit.
I mean,
we share a
it's
little
just
bit.
because we're that close, honestly. Once we get everything kind of settled, I think it'll be better.
I think it'll be, yeah. But yeah, so lock-in. So we can talk. Let's actually talk about the lock-in for a few minutes, and then we can let everyone go about their days.
Well, we kind of transitioned away from like scheduling things, like giving specific times, because a lot of times, a lot of times the things don't fire off when we schedule them because people either don't show up or people that say they're going to show up aren't able to get there in time and that kind of thing. So I know we're planning on doing another Sharpie draft because we had a lot of fun doing that last time.
The
It was
Sharpie draft was a
really
big deal.
popular. We're also doing the pre-release for Dragonstorm.
Yep, but that's what pretty much really kicks it off at 7.
Right. 7 o'clock, we're going to start by doing the pre-release for Tarkir Dragonstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, we have the liquor lock-in basically starting, because it's going to start about the same time.
And I will announce this here, because I was talking about doing it today. I had to really think about it. But I feel comfortable announcing this. We are going to do a one-piece win-a-box for OP10. We have one box left, and I've been trying to figure out what to do with it because we set it aside as prize support.
Mm-hmm.
I think a win-a-box.
Sure.
I think that'd be fun. Kick that off at like probably 10:30, 11 o'clock, so that
Don't put a time on it.
That's why I said around. I feel like something like that you have to schedule. You have to schedule a win-a-box.
Say, okay, if you guys are interested in coming and doing the one-piece win-a-box that he plans on setting up, be here by 10.
Yeah, because I want to give time for the pre-release to be in full swing.
Right. Because they're probably going to take up most of the table space, too.
Yes, that's also a big part of it, because I figure by 10 o'clock we will be 2 rounds deep.
Which means we're probably going to have to move the tables for, like, the Warhammer tables, move them away.
Don't tell me that.
And then probably move the towers out of the way and set up tables out here in the middle.
Probably.
Honestly, that's probably going to be the best bet, is we'll probably set up tables out here in the middle for, like, the other games. Just because we know that a lot people have been really, really anticipating Tarkir Dragonstorm.
But I think you're underestimating the power of the round 2, 0-2 drop that always happens with a pre-release.
Sure. But if it hits 10 o'clock and they're still going in full swing,
then we'll set up tables.
We're going to need to set up tables.
I already know I have a couple of groups that are requesting personal tables because they're trying to do like D&D and stuff like that during the lock-in. So
I mean,
it's going to be interesting. That's
unfortunately,
all I can say.
our old campaign room is our recording studio now. So
yeah, it's really nice though.
We're not allowed to use it, but
yeah.
I'm joking.
We are allowed to use it.
We're allowed to use it,
but also I have to be able to see the counter.
Right. That's why we have to stay out here in the store, because he's working. He has to be able to see the counter and get up.
I like the vibes of being out in the store, though.
I mean, honestly, yeah, we get customers come in. They're interested in what we're doing, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They'll come by and they'll say hi to us. We just had a customer come up and talk to us, and that's cool.
I mean, it just feels like it feels more lived in as a game store, right?
Very much so.
You know, but yeah, so the only hard scheduled thing then is the pre-release.
Right.
At
Everything
7.
else is kind of just play it by ear.
Play it by ear. Fire when ready.
Fire when ready. I would say try to be here, guys. If you're going to be here for the One Piece, try to be here at 10 o'clock so that we can. That way, we have plenty of time
and we
to
have
do
time
it.
to figure out
I'm
how many
sure
we
people
have.
are going to be here wanting to play Warhammer. You've already said that a couple people have
Yep.
requested to have private tables for their Dungeons and Dragons game.
So it's a good time to get a head count, and
Right.
so we can start figuring out the logistics.
Hell,
of
I
it.
might even try just to sit down and play because I
Yeah.
haven't played that game since the last time
It's
we
been a minute.
played, and I
Yeah.
wanted to choke you.
That's fine. Again, control player.
Granted,
lane.
strangle you, not choke you,
Strangle.
because choking is internal strength.
But I was going to talk about even trying to do a Star Wars thing, but then I sold our last box of Star Wars today.
Oh, well, you know,
I was gonna
Star Wars is
suggest a
actually
draft.
really popular right
It's
now.
super popular.
I'm actually really happy that it's
So
it's
am I.
taking off as well as it is,
I wanted it to do well. I've
Right.
always wanted it to do
and
well.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We had a couple of guys come in here earlier that were talking about their Star Wars decks.
Yeah. Like, it's great that it keeps growing,
Right.
and the game gets enough support from the developers to
Honestly, dude,
continue to grow.
I have no real like heavy complaints about Fantasy Flight.
Yeah.
They've been really consistent with their product release schedule. I wish they would have printed more product originally.
Yes.
I wish they had printed more product. A lot of people wish they did.
I'm wondering where our set 4 reprints are already. And
I mean-
I'm fighting to get a hold of stuff right now.
It's honestly crazy. The size of Cards HQ, dude, they had wall-to-wall Pokemon.
That's crazy. I bet they were selling it at
Local-
crazy prices.
So, let me be clear. Pretty much everything else in the store was sold at under market.
Okay.
The Star Wars stuff was being sold at under market. We sell Star
We
Wars
sell
stuff at
under
under
market.
market, right? They were selling set 1 boxes, and they had about 12 set 1
That's
boxes.
crazy.
They were selling set 1 boxes for like 85 a box.
That's insane.
They were selling Shadows boxes for like 60 because I mean it wasn't
Yeah.
one of the best sets.
And it was reprinted into
Um,
the ground.
Well, no, set 3 was reprinted.
Set 3 was
around.
reprinted into the ground.
I might have got that backwards. They probably I think they were selling the set 2 boxes for about 70. The set 3 boxes
like
were about 60, and then set 4 was going for about 75-ish
That's crazy,
a
though.
box. I bought and their Carbonite boxes, they had like 10. Yeah, like 10 Carbonite boxes just sitting in their case.
And you bought all 10
I
of them.
snagged 2. No, I wish, but no, I didn't have that kind of money. I definitely burned my credit card a bit.
I'm sure you did.
Bought 2.
Get anything good?
I mean, I got pulled a showcase Luke out of 1 and pulled
Nice.
a showcase the fish guy.
Admiral Akbar.
Akbar, thank you. I could not remember his name all of a sudden.
I can't believe
All
I
I'm,
got a
I'm
Star
just
Wars
picturing I'm
I'm so
picturing
proud of
the
myself.
art. The art on that card is so ridiculous.
I can't believe you still haven't pulled in a showcase Admiral Holdo for me.
No, and I will never.
I can't believe you.
If I ever did, I will burn it.
You're a monster.
I
it's
am.
worth like $30.
I know. Well, no, actually, it's not. It's worth like 70.
Ooh.
But that's funny because I ended up getting a Piat showcase while I was up there
Oh, did
too.
you?
So I actually got my showcase at Admiral Piat.
It always feels so good.
Dude, I love
when
it.
You get what you're looking for. Like,
Oh no, I
especially
totally
as
bought
you're-
it off the shelf.
You're like, how much?
100.
100? That's not bad.
Well, yeah, especially when like the listings were like 200 online. Like I
Yeah.
said, they were selling stuff at well under market value.
That
to
tells
the
you
point
they
where
had so much Pokemon.
they had
then.
something. They had an Avenger, a hyperspace foil Avenger in their case for like $12, and they went in and one of our guys wanted it, right? So he was
Yeah.
gonna buy it, but he was like, "Man, I gotta come back later and buy this." When he came back, they were about to pull it out of the case to reprice it
Really?
because they don't go off of like
Hey, pulled a Thrawn
Checking-
showcase. Let's go, Burks.
100%. Like that was a legit pull, and it was crazy.
That is crazy.
There was a girl at the table right behind me that snapped a Grand Inquisitor
Ooh.
showcase Grand Inquisitor
I don't think I've ever seen that one before.
out of a draft pack.
That's crazy.
It was awesome. It was a great time, dude. We had fun. We had a
It
blast.
seems like it
over
was
there.
a lot of fun. Like,
Um,
Atlanta, again, being from up there, Atlanta's already just a city I can enjoy. Going and getting to enjoy nerd stuff makes it even more fun, I think.
oh yeah, 100%.
Atlanta is just a fun city. Genuinely.
Traffic sucks.
The traffic does suck.
I hated it, dude. I hated driving up there so bad. I hated it with a passion.
I'm telling you, next time, if y'all go up there again for any other events, I will give you a laundry list of restaurants to go to that will knock your socks off.
It depends on what
All
part of
around the
Atlanta
area.
they're in.
Once you're in Atlanta, you can get to the bits of Atlanta with relative ease.
The spot we were in once we were there was okay. Like we didn't have any issues like moving over. We walked to the restaurant.
Yeah.
We walked to the venue the first night, and then we were like, yeah, screw that walk, because going uphill that many times, it sucked.
Not fun.
It sucked really bad.
It's not fun. So y'all drove the next.
So we drove because we had to check out from the hotel
Yeah.
anyway. So we just drove over there. It wasn't bad. That part, that area, not bad at all.
Yeah.
It was getting on to 75, and 75 was
sucks.
just so congested.
75
like,
sucks.
and like I said earlier, like I told the people in Math and Magic Land that I'm not an aggressive driver, like at all.
You have to be there.
I'm not, but that's the thing is I'm not. And I had so many people that were just like threatening to hit my car as I was trying to merge into traffic. It was gross. I hated it.
So let me tell you the ultimate secret of being a defensive or aggressive driver. You have to recognize people care more about their stuff than you care about your own stuff.
Oh,
So
no,
if you
I care
start
about my
driving
stuff
your car
immensely more.
If you drive your car with that mindset,
That's not going to happen. I just paid $23,000 for that car.
hey, I paid about the same for my car.
No.
But you just have to drive with that sort of mindset, and you can squeeze your way into spots you should not squeeze your way into.
Oh, there were a couple of times that I was like begging for the kindness of strangers, not receiving it, said, you know what, F it, and just...
Oh, dude, Southern hospitality
merged.
disappears the second you get onto the interstate.
Southern hospitality seems to like disappear when you're within 10 miles of major cities.
I don't know. It depends on the major city. I feel like Charlotte, North Carolina, people are still plenty nice. The few times I've been up there. It's specifically Atlanta. Atlanta just has an energy.
Just has an
Very
energy.
different
That's-
energy.
That's true.
But
yeah, no, like, so like I said, like most of the stuff in their store was just so, dude, they had acrylic tokens. They had
That's
like
cool.
20 boxes of acrylic tokens. We couldn't even get one.
we got one.
We literally got one, and we were
got
planning on giving it away as a
single one.
prize award.
Did we ever do that?
Not yet. We're gonna do it
Okay,
for
we're
like the
saving
store
it for
showdown.
another thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're saving it for the store showdown. But like they got 20 boxes of the acrylic tokens.
We should have bought them all so we could sell them here.
No, they were still like $20 a pop.
Yeah, never mind.
But like I said, like from the way I kind of saw it was they priced all their stuff. They regularly price all their stuff, put it all in the cases, and then they'll go back. And they have enough employees to do it where they can go back.
Well, yeah, like Spencer was telling me they had like 30 employees.
Oh yeah, dude, they had an on-site grading booth.
Which is crazy.
On-site grading
But again,
booth.
and here's the thing. From what I gathered, it seems like sports cards are their bread and butter.
That is their bread and butter.
That is a very different ball game. Like the amount of money that you're pulling with sports cards.
Yeah, it can be pennies. It can be thousands of dollars.
I'm convinced sports cards, the people that buy sports cards are the same people that buy like expensive art. So it's all a money laundering scheme is kind of what I'm saying.
Effectively.
But yeah, for them to have like 30, 40 employees, I mean, it must have been a big store. And
It
must have
was.
been a
It was
busy
huge, dude.
store.
It was a
I
warehouse.
saw a couple of clips that you sent.
Yeah, I got several videos.
Yeah.
So next week we're probably gonna upload some videos, or I think Spencer said that he was gonna try and like
Edit some
clip
stuff
in
up.
some videos. So if you guys come back on Thursday, I believe is when we're gonna release this actual
Yeah,
episode.
it actually releases
Spencer plans on splicing in a couple of like
clips.
and whatnot from our trip. Probably go back like during some of the breaks that you had to get up and leave. We can splice in
Yeah. Be a good way to
couple
fill
of
the
like
void.
our interviews, things like that. We definitely did some interviews with some of our players, how they were doing, how they felt their games were going, and then definitely did like little intros for each of the players, and what they were bringing to the tournament. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, so what do you want to talk about next week?
Next week, let's see, what do we got? Well, we have the lock-in, we have the pre-release and all that. Honestly, I don't think there's much really going on in the gaming world next week. But I think honestly, I want to try and have a guest on,
Okay.
and we can kind of sit down with some people,
Someone.
talk about some stuff. I'd be interested in trying to grab either one of the D&D guys that are in the D&D show.
Yeah.
Or perhaps we can try and convince a
One
couple of our
guys.
magic guys to sit down with us and talk about Dragonstorm and
Yeah.
how they kind of feel about that set and how
I'm
it's
down
been
for that.
released and whatnot.
Okay. So you know what? Look forward to that, guys. We'll try. We'll have a guess one way or another.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But where I think we've hit that time, we've talked through what we want to talk through.
You know, barring all the little breaks and
Barring
whatnot.
all of the little breaks, you know how it is.
But we'll fill that time
fill
with,
that.
with like clips and whatnot.
And I hear the store phone ringing. So
So that is a good signal
That's
to
a
go
great
ahead and
signal.
call it for today's episode. I'm Nick the Red.
I'm Tyler P.
That's my buddy. We'll see
Check
you
it
guys
out.
next
Yeah.
time.
Check us out at wherever we do stuff and have a good one.
Take it easy, guys.